Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources.
Washington Post World, December 7, 12:01 America, New York, as Biden calls Putin, threat of Russian invasion of Ukraine mounts. The ominous threat of ground war in Europe hangs over President Biden's call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. RT World News, December 7, 4:41 America, New York, move to Western rhythm prompts major UAE switch. Government workers in the United Arab Emirates, UAE, will soon work Monday to Friday, with their weekend on Saturday and Sunday, similar to how the week is organized in many other nations.
December 7, 4:38 America, New York, Biden and Putin set to hold call at critical moment. Biden readying sanctions against Putin's inner circle ahead of key call.
Washington Post World, December 7, 4:35 America, New York, China says it doesn't care about Biden's Olympic snub. Why is it warning of countermeasures? Beijing says U.S. officials were never invited to the Winter Games, due to open in February in the Chinese capital. RT World News, December 7, 4:34 America, New York, Germany's new Gov coalition deal finally signed. Germany's Social Democrats have struck a coalition deal with the Greens and the Liberal Free Democrats for the first time in the nation's history. The former finance minister, Olaf Scholz, is poised to become the next chancellor.
Wall Street Journal World News, December 7, 4:33 America, New York, volunteer fighters raise stakes in Ethiopia's bitter conflict. Thousands of Ethiopian men and women are quitting their jobs to enlist with the armed forces, as rebels advance toward the capital. Saving my country is my highest priority right now, said Billet Alamru, a university librarian who joined a pro-government militia.
RT World News, December 7, 4:23 America, New York, Facebook sued for $150 billion over role in genocide. Facebook has been sued over the role it played in a hate speech campaign that led to the violent persecution of the Rohingya, a Muslim minority group in Myanmar. Washington Post World, December 7, 4:23 America, New York, explosion rocks southern Iraqi city, casualties reported. A large explosion has rocked the center of Iraq's southern city of Basra, with local news reports saying there are multiple casualties. Washington Post World, December 7, 4:16 America, New York, German parliament to debate job-specific vaccine mandate. Germany's parliament is set to debate a proposed vaccine mandate for hospital and nursing home staff, among other measures meant to help break the country's biggest wave so far of coronavirus infections.
December 7, 4:08 America, New York, China threatens the U.S. with retaliation over diplomatic boycott of Winter Olympics. China has threatened the Biden administration with retaliation over its decision to impose a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, warning the move could damage bilateral relations.
Washington Post World, December 7, 3:53 America, New York, armed gangs raise risks in vaccinating rural Nigerians. As Nigeria tries to meet an ambitious goal of fully vaccinating 55 million of its 206 million people in the next 2 months, healthcare workers in some parts of the country risk their lives to reach the rural population.
December 7, 3:53 America, New York, Kenyan police officer kills 6 in shooting rampage, police say. A Kenyan police officer shot dead 5 people in a rampage through the capital Nairobi on Tuesday and then shot and killed himself, the Police Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, said.
CNN.com World, December 7, 3:53 America, New York, Kenyan police officer kills 6 in shooting rampage, police say. A Kenyan police officer shot dead 5 people in a rampage through the capital Nairobi on Tuesday and then shot and killed himself, the Police Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, said.
December 7, 3:52 America, New York, more than a foot of rain has fallen over the last 48 hours in some areas with all of the islands under a flood watch through the afternoon. Relentless rain in Hawaii has left parts of the state under the threat of significant and life-threatening flooding, the National Weather Service in Honolulu said Monday night, with some areas already tallying more than a foot of rain over a 48-hour span.
Washington Post World, December 7, 3:25 America New York. Explosion collapses building in southern France, 4 missing. French firefighters are searching through rubble for 4 people feared buried in an explosion that collapsed a 3-story apartment building on southern France's Mediterranean coast.
BBC News World. December 7, 3:24 America New York, 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. China criticizes U.S. diplomatic boycott. China angrily denounces a U.S. plan not to send diplomats to the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing.
December 7, 3:22 America New York. Michigan shooting could have been prevented given warning signs, prosecutor says. 1 week after a school shooting in Michigan that killed 4 students and led to the manhunt and arrest of the suspect's parents, officials are wondering how the tragedy could have been prevented.
New York Times World News. December 7, 3:18 America New York. Ahead of Biden's Democracy Summit, China says, "We're also a democracy." Beijing argues that its system represents a distinctive form of democracy, one that has dealt better than the West with challenges like the pandemic. President Biden and China's top leader, Xi Jinping, at their virtual summit last month, as seen on a Chinese news program on a giant outdoor screen in Beijing. New York Times World News. December 7, 3:18 America New York. Ahead of Biden's Democracy Summit, China says, "We're also a democracy." Beijing argues that its system represents a distinctive form of democracy, one that has dealt better than the West with challenges like the pandemic. President Biden and China's top leader, Xi Jinping, at their virtual summit last month, as seen on a Chinese news program on a giant outdoor screen in Beijing. Washington Post World. December 7, 3:17 America New York. Cambodia's premier to visit military-led Myanmar next month. Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Sen plans to pay an official visit early next month to military-ruled Myanmar, seeking to patch up the general's battered relationship with Southeast Asia's regional bloc of nations. RT World News. December 7, 3:09 America New York. China seeks first naval base in Atlantic, U.S. media. Beijing intends to build its first-ever naval outpost on the Atlantic Ocean, which would allow China to position its warships opposite the west coast of the U.S., a media report says.